Hey there. I figured it would be a lot easier to write, no, to talk as opposed to writing. First of all, most important, I wanted to say congratulations again on the job offer. I think that's really exciting, and it's nice to have options. I think that's fantastic. But quality of life is huge. Um, my job, does it own me? Uh, kind of. I think it does. Um, so anyway, it does kind of own me. But once I retire, I know I can't operate the way I was operating. Just out of love and respect for, my my I to say family, my daughter and my friends. They're like family. But anyway, about the video, I know you sent me two. I'm gonna watch the other one. Um, uh, I'm so sorry. I hate to do that. But anyway, I did want to respond to the video, the first one. So, where do I start? Um, he mentioned the basketball. Hey, do your kids play basketball? Um, you know, I don't. I don't know. You could take that so many different ways. First of all, my daughter's tall. I'm tall. I never played basketball. And granted, I'm not a guy, and I know that's a stereotype too. But I've had a lot of people ask me questions because I'm tall, because volleyball, basketball. My daughter volleyball, basketball. My stepson, my stepson. People have asked him. I know because of stereotypes. I felt bad because he doesn't play, and he probably looks like he can play, especially being tall. And but people asked him, and it's like lower those expectations because he might disappoint you. So anyway, I wouldn't personally take offense to someone asking me that, and I do think that there are people that any and everything can be interpreted in a negative way. And that's in every quote unquote circle. I think people can think that way. Are there people out there that think any little thing can be racist? Absolutely. I'm sure those people are out there too. I know they are, but are there so many of them and more of them than the other group that has legitimate things? I don't think that's the case. I was talking to someone recently and they were talking about, what about the false allegations for men when, being accused of falsely of sexual assault? What about those guys? I'm like, you know what? There are less of them and way more of the other ones. So I think instead of giving all of our time and energy to this small group of people that are falsely accusing men, I think we need to let these other people, I'm just going to say primarily women, let them be heard, and let's listen to them. Let's listen to their stories and wrap our arms around our sisters and encourage them and support them through this, because there's way more women that are not saying anything that have suffered this than there, and way more women that have suffered it, period, than there are of those that are falsely accusing. And that's kind of the same thing I would say about people accusing people of being racist that are not. Absolutely, those people are out there, and I don't like that. That bothers me because those folks are messing it up for people that have legitimate situations that they have to endure. And and for me, I might have said this before, but I look more at the microaggressions because I see way more of that than anything else. And with those microaggressions, um, those are, he says you don't know what you don't know. Um, I wouldn't put a lot of weight on that because I do think with microaggressions, like I might have said this to you before, but let me give you an example. My roommate, she said to me, Rashawn, my Glenn and I were driving, and these two black girls were crossing the street. I'm sorry if you've heard this story before. These two black girls were crossing the street, and they were just taking their own sweet time. And she said, and oh man, it was so annoying. And then Glenn says, Rashawn, or not Rashawn, I wasn't there. He says, Molly, why are they like that? You know, Rashawn, she's just an exception to the rule. I don't know how to interpret that, but I think I know what he was saying because I wasn't even there. So why, he says, why are they like that? These two black girls are crossing the street. What does he mean? Why are they like that? And then he brought me into it and I wasn't even there. So what do we have in common? That's that there we have to focus on those similarities. We have in common that we're females and we have in common that we're black. So if he's talking about females, why are they like that? He'd be talking about his girlfriend too. Don't think that's what he was talking about. I think it was very clear what he was talking about, which he was saying, why are black people like this, but not Rashawn? She's an exception to the rule. And the worst part about it was my roommate told me this story and she thought she was complimenting me when she was insulting me in every way, as well as every other black person. So in a sense, you know, you don't know what you don't know. However way he is interpreting that, she clearly didn't know what she was saying. She clearly wasn't trying to be offensive, but she was offensive nonetheless. And then, fast forward, I have a shipmate that says to me, this guy, he was so blankety blank blank. You know, Rashawn, he was a real, and then she used the N-word with me. And then she says, or whatever you guys would call white people. I don't know how I would interpret that, but I think that's pretty plain. And I can't tell you, I won't even bore you with more stories. But the thing that I've shared on a lot of virtual discussions lately is when you're on the receiving end of those kind of microaggressions over and over and over again. I've seen it as a woman. I've seen it as a reservist. I've seen it as a civilian on a milder scale. But absolutely, as a black person and as a female, I've seen it a lot. And women that I've talked to have seen it a lot. You know, those microaggressions. But when you're on the receiving end of it over and over and over again, it gets old, it gets wearing, it tears away, you know, and the commandant's message of stronger together, like that message gets muddled in the quicksand because all of these things tear away at the fabric of what he's trying to build, what the leaders that care are trying to build. And so the thing that I love about the conversations that we're having right now is my hope is that there'll be more of an awareness of things that are being said, you know, even though they're not intentional, they're still hurtful. And someone can say, like, I'll say one more microaggression from a female. This female, this kind of goes with George Floyd too, but this female, I was just literally about to give a discussion on microaggressions with a group, and she comes over. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so ticked off. I just spotted this chief that I recognize from Petaluma. I said, oh, well, what happened? And she's like, we were in the chief's mess. I was the only female. And then he came over to me and asked me if I was a dependent. I'm like, what the heck? No, I'm not a dependent. Why didn't he ask any other guys? And many guys would probably look at that situation and say, lighten up. Why are you making a big deal out of it? It's an honest mistake. The problem probably is she's not completely upset at that one comment. She's upset at several comments. That was probably just the straw that broke the camel's back, where she was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I am sick and tired of people minimizing and marginalizing me as a female. And so that's probably what that was. But again, maybe your average guy, and I know that might be a stereotype, but maybe your average guy looking at this from the outside, he's like, man, she needs to lighten up. Why is she so bent out of shape about that? You know? So in that scenario, what would have been awesome is if a male shipmate had heard this guy saying that and basically corrected him in a nice way, but corrected him saying, bro, that's not cool. I know you probably didn't mean anything by it, but if you're not going to go around and ask the other guys, are they dependents? Don't assume that this one female in this chief's mess must be a dependent. She couldn't be a chief. She must be a dependent. Don't do that because that's offensive. But unfortunately, no one spoke up, and maybe no one heard. I don't know. But so I don't have a problem with the guy's message in general because I think some people are guilty of that, but I don't like to give that too much weight because then it takes away from people that have legitimate challenges that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's all I've got for now. Take care. Thanks for sharing. Bye.